Hello everyone. I'm really confused because it wouldn't let me start the meeting. It would only let me join the meeting. So who knows what's going on there. But I was like, I thought this is my meeting, but I'm really confused. So Zoom is baffling me at the moment. I'm really sorry. I hope you're all well and not too hot. Make sure, please, that you have a cold glass of water. It's only a 40-minute class, so we're not going to go crazy. But if you do feel hot, too hot, lightheaded, take a drink of water. Take your time, have a few deep breaths, etc. We're going to start standing. Now today, we are going to use, if we can, the stretchy band, but I know, Jen, for example, you might not have one, and that's totally fine. You don't need to use a stretchy band. If you have a scarf or anything to hand, you can use that instead, or everything that we do with the band, which isn't very much. We're not going to do the whole class with the band, just a few exercises you can do without, so don't worry. But let's start standing. So unless any of you have anything you need to flag up, pains, aches, etc., etc. So if you need to find a wall that you can give yourself a little bit of support next to, then do. Oh, I'm going to chop my head off again. So I want you to stand with your feet hip width apart. Finding all 10 toes on the floor. My head's still chopped off. And just from your feet, think about growing tall like a tree out of the earth. So I want you to really imagine how you're grounding down through the feet into the floor. So if you haven't got socks on, that's great. If not, even through socks, I want you to lift up all your toes and just softly release them down. So just do that a couple of times. Imagine you're playing a piano with your toes. Try and individually pad each toe down. And then before you soften them completely, I want you just to take your hands onto your hip bones, the two bony protrusions of your pelvis, and see if you can just trace a line down from those two bony parts of your pelvis and place the feet directly underneath those two spaces. So it's not the outside of the hips, which should be here, but it's slightly in from that space. So it depends completely on the width of your pelvis. And then lift up the toes once more, release them down. Have a sense of the big toe joint, the little toe joint, the heel. And then from that triangle, that heaviness tripod, I want you to then lift up the energy through your center. So imagine the little dome of your arch of your foot. Think about gently drawing some energy up through the ground into the body. Imagine how that lifts softly into your pelvic floor. Think about the basin of your pelvis, just softly lifting around that space. And then allow the crown of your head to lengthen and lift up towards the ceiling. While you're doing all that lifting, notice what's happened with your shoulders. Have they lifted up to the ears as well? See if you can just release them down. Let's take a few rolls of the shoulder joints. Doesn't matter which direction, just gently mobilizing. Maybe you want to make a lovely elbowy circle as well, drawing the elbows together, rolling them out. It's a really nice kind of massage for the shoulder joints. See how it feels. It might feel like you're having a nice little squeeze around the shoulders. And then let them release down. And I want you to bring them directly up to the ears. Take a deep breath and then breathe out, shrug them down. Let's do that 2 more times. So lift up with the in-breath. And release last time, in and release. And then just take the left ear to the left shoulder. If you want to, just gently placing the left hand onto the side of your head, the right side of the head. Allowing this right shoulder to release down as well. So we're not allowing that to lift up. I want you just to have that sense of length through the right side of the neck. So we're not pulling or tugging on the head, but I want you just to have a sense of heaviness, and it might feel better without the hand. So just listen to your body. Breathe. And then if you can, just soft rotation, as if you're just gently nosing into your armpit a little bit more. So taking the stretch through the back of the neck slightly more. Again, check in with that right shoulder, make sure it's heavy. And then releasing the head back through center and lengthen it back. Just take a moment here to maybe close your eyes and allow both shoulders to soften. Think about breathing widely into the belly, into the rib cage. We'll come more consciously into that in a moment, but I want you to see if you can channel that breath deep down in towards the lower belly. And then you're going to just allow the right ear to release to the right shoulder. Notice if one side feels tighter than the other. Mine definitely doesn't. On this side it always does. And then taking that hand, if it feels comfortable, so we're not forcing it, we're just lengthening and softening into the stretch a bit more. Remember relaxing this supporting arm or this stationary arm, and then rotating gently so the hand comes to more of the back of the head and you're looking down towards the floor. Breathe. And then coming back through center, release the arm down. Bring the head back through center. Take both hands onto the shoulder joints. And let's bring the elbows together, just drawing them all up. And you can allow the rib cage and the spine to move with this position, with this movement, if you want. So allow the arms to carry the ribs up and back, and then the elbows come wide. If you need to, reduce the movement. So it can be quite a small movement if the shoulder prefers, but otherwise it's a really lovely way of just opening up into the rib cage, into the chest, counteracting any desk-related slumping that might have been going on today. Let's do two more. Last one. Release the arms all the way down. Take your hands onto your lower belly, releasing the fingertips all the way down towards the pubic bone, sort of underneath the lower belly, the navel area. So your heels of your hands might be resting on the hip bones and the fingertips lengthening down towards the pubic bone. Just soften your eyes, maybe closing the eyes or looking softly down towards the floor. See if the shoulders can stay relaxed on the back. So although the hands are on the front, I don't want you to feel like we're rolling forward. So see if you can still maintain that sense of your back body, nice and lengthened. And I want you to see if you can breathe into your fingertips. Let the breath inflate, traveling down all the way down towards the front of the body, towards the lower belly, towards the pubic bone. And then breathe out, soften the breath out through your lips as if you're trying to blow out a candle or fog a window in front of you. And then breathe in again, sending that breath down. So notice if your shoulders are rising, the chest and the collarbones are lifting. See if you can send the breath down towards the lower belly. And then, now we're going to do three more. And as you breathe out on the next three, I want you to really consciously, within this space that your hands are, imagine drawing the energy in. So imagine your belly is soft on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, you're going to draw it in as if you've got a little weight, belt that you're tightening up on that out-breath. So breathing in, soft and open through the belly. And as you breathe out, lifting from the pubic bone towards the navel, imagine just softly energizing that lower belly space. And then breathe in, let it go. And so you're kind of cinching, imagine drawing a corset around that lower part of the waist and the belly. Breathe in, let it soften. Last one, as you breathe out, finding that breath, drawing the lower belly in. And then I want you to breathe in, but maintain a little bit of that engagement. So keep the breath open and wide through the ribs, but try and imagine that you're still opening, drawing in a little bit through the abdominal area. So we want to keep that sense of a little bit of a lift. So not full tight belt, but just 1 or 2 notches rather than 4 notches, let's say. You're softly drawing the abdominal muscles in, and keep it there throughout the exercises. So let's float the arms forward and out in front of you. So if you're about to give someone a hug now that it's allowed, we're going to breathe in, open the arms wide, and really let the arms come back behind you. So allow that little stretch of the armpits to happen as well. And then breathe out. Let's just give yourself a hug. Breathe in, open. Breathe out, crossing over the other way. Give yourself a hug. One more either side like this, or either cross like this. In, open the arms. Out. In, wide, stretch through the body, and out. Good, now we're going to add a little bit of movement through the spine here. So coming into this position with the arms out, we're going to softly bend the knees. And I want you to really allow that to give you a little bit of mobility through your pelvis and your spine here. So let's practice without the arms. You're going to just tuck the tailbone underneath you and come into a little roll of the spine, a little rounding of the spine. You can come a bit deeper and come all the way into a little cat if you want. And then we're going to come wider and open into a little extension of the spine. So rounding as you give yourself a hug and opening as you open the arms. So with the legs a little bit bent, maybe a little bit wider, depending on how you feel through your pelvis, you can get much more of that movement through your spine. So let's take the arms in front of you and open and look up this time. Really extend the spine. And as you breathe out, let's round through the spine and just give yourself a hug. And breathe in to open. And out to round. Make sure you cross the arm different ways as much as to make sure you're even and balanced. We've got one more after this. Last one, open. And then from here, in your rounded position, I want you just to roll all the way forward. Lovely bent knees, so making sure we're not straightening the legs too much. I want you to really let the spine drape forward and let the head be completely free. So let's nod the head yes. Shake the head no. Breathe in here. And as you breathe out, using your hands to walk up your legs, let's roll up. So gently engaging through the abdominals a little bit, but use those hands to help guide you and lifting yourself back up to your upright position. Let the arms release down by your side. So take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's roll down. This time, so the spine is staying upright for as long as possible, and we're peeling bone by bone. So we're not rolling in the pelvis to begin with. We're rolling from the top of the spine, evenly, bone by bone. The pelvis rolls at the end. You can keep your legs straight if you like that hamstring stretch, but make sure you're not hanging back on the heels. See if you can keep your energy poised over the arch of your foot, breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out. Let's use the belly more this time without the hands guiding you. You're going to roll up bone by bone. Lengthening the head and the top of the spine. Let the shoulders glide down the back. So really let the arms settle down by your side and the head release back on top of the spine before you then take a breath in. And breathe out, eyes down, chin down. We're going to roll bone by bone. So take it as slow as you want. We want this to be really mindful movement to begin with, finding every bone moving sequentially. Breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out. Rebuild. See if you can imagine and visualize your tummy muscles helping to restack the bones of your spine. So imagine someone pressing you up from the front of your body, relaxing the back of your body at the top. Breathe in. Let's do this 2 more times. So in your own speed, rolling down, letting the lower back lengthen, let the knees soften as much as you need. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Breathing in at the top. Breathing out. Rolling it down. And then rebuild. Lovely. Now from here, let's come to the end of our mat. Your pillows at the opposite end. hip width apart with the legs, lengthen up through the spine. We're going to float the arms up on your in-breath. Allow them to come up as high as you feel comfortable without carrying the rib cage with it. So we want to see whether your arms can move without taking the ribs and the spine with them. And then breathe in here. And as you breathe out, you're going to roll down, this time with the arms in line with the spine. So allow the arms and the rib cage to stay connected, stay nice and in balance. Find the floor. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Find that lower belly connection. So remember when you were breathing, draw it in a little bit more as you walk out. Little steps into your plank. So allow the bum to come in line with the head. So we're not leaving it hanging in the air. We're going to keep it lengthened, lifting through the lower belly. Relax the shoulders and the back. Take a breath in here. You can bring the breath, release the knees whenever you need to. If it's hard on the wrist, we're going to try and stay for 3 breaths otherwise. Breathing in and out. Drawing the belly in a little bit deeper. Breathing in and out. Last one. And breathing out. Take one knee in, followed by the other. Let's bring the knees quite wide, toes together, and release your bum all the way back down. So relaxing the forehead down onto the floor, or you can relax it onto the back of your hands, whichever feels better for you. But I want you to feel like you can fully release the lower back, the neck, the shoulders. And now we've been thinking about the back body when we were standing. I want you to really see if you can find the back body with your breath. So breathing all the way down the spine. See if you can inflate down the sides of the waist, around your kidneys, allow the hips to open, all with the breath. And then breathe out. And again, breathe in. And out. Breathing in and breathing out. Lovely. We're going to roll up bone by bone up to your kneeling position. We've got a little bit of a foot stretch here, so I want you to bring your knees together. Now you can keep them a little bit wider, and if this aggravates knees, don't do it. If it aggravates knees, I want you to come into this position and you can play with your feet with them in front of you. Otherwise, we're going to have the knees connected or a little bit wider, and you're going to tuck the toes underneath you and then sit back onto your heels. So it may not be the most comfortable position in the whole world, but the more uncomfortable it is, the more your body needs it. Unfortunately, that's the rule of these kind of things. So I want you to clasp the hands together behind your back, lengthen your arms down behind you. Don't force it. You can just clasp them and don't stretch if you want to, but it's a really good way of opening it up into the chest. Also kind of distracts you from what's going on in your toes. So breathing into that foot stretch. If it's not too much of a stretch, then it just means your feet are very happy and healthy, not too confined in their shoes. One more breath here. And then just coming all the way up and lengthen the toes out behind you. And then from here, let's take the clasp of your hands out in front of you. Lengthen forward, pressing all the way out, and reach the arms up. Check the shoulders haven't reached or rising up to the ears, so let's just really drop them down if you can. And then press the arms out, so reaching out through the heel of your hand. So we've got that same clasp. We want to keep the angle of the wrist all the way down, so a little bit of a stretch here, and then lengthen all the way back up again. Clasp the hands together so you can't see my arms at the top. And then lengthen the palms of the hands away as if you're pressing. And then bring the fingertips together, lifting up one last time. Again, doing that clasp and pressing away, this time just to shoulder height. And then I want you to lengthen the arms, the hands rather, so they can be kind of whichever feels comfortable for you. What we're going to do here is we're going to take your left hand and twist it back to the back. So like a key in the lock in a clockwise way, and the other hand is going to go the other way. So we're twisting, spiraling them around, and I want you to allow your spine to follow that spiral. And then we're going to go the other way, spiral and lengthen. So you might notice that my rib cage is moving, but like a typewriter, I'm not sending my hips to each direction. I'm actually just lengthening through the waist and the ribs. See if you can try and maintain that movement just in the rib cage. It should be quite a nice stretch for the waist muscles. And we're getting into that nitty-gritty of the shoulder joints. One more on either side. Arms all the way up towards the ceiling, and then come all the way back down into your rest position. Take a few breaths there. In and out. And then from here, let's come into your 4-point kneeling position. So the knees directly underneath the hips, and the hands either directly underneath the shoulders if that feels right for you, or slightly in front if it feels better for the wrist joints. So listen to your wrists in this respect. Sometimes a squishy mat kind of can be a little bit more problematic for a wrist, so if that feels like that for you, take it onto a wooden floor or a harder floor like this, or just bring it onto a fist. So from here, let's think about lining up the back of our body as if you're connecting with a pole or a mat behind you. So consider where your head is, consider where your ribs are, and consider where your bottom is. So let's just gently mobilize each in turn. So for your head, just look towards your right side, and then back through center, look to the left. Look slightly forward. Look down towards your belly without taking the spine with it. So see if you can move your neck, but without the spine naturally following suit. Then lengthen the neck. So you're looking down. The chin is sort of towards the chest. We're not looking forward beyond the mat. We're looking down kind of in that midway point between the fingertips. Now from here, the rib cage. Let's press the ribs away from the floor, and then just allow them to draw back. So we're thinking about the shoulder blades on the back. We're not moving the spine, we're just hovering and lowering the ribs. So this is again a bit of a shoulder jointy one. It can feel quite sticky. And then come to a point where you're neither dropping down nor pushing away. You want to feel the shoulder blades resting on the back of the body. So really kind of tune into that feeling of how you're at the back of the body, where the back of your body is in space. So we've got the back of the head in line, the middle of the shoulder blades in line. Now where's your bottom? So let's just circle the bum. Imagine that you've got a little hula hoop around your lower waist, your hips, and you're just very slowly in slow motion hula hooping. And then change direction. And then come back through center. We're going to hula hoop to the right, back through center to the left. So gently mobilizing through the hip and bum area. And then come back through center. So now we're all in line. You might feel like your shoulders are a bit fatigued. If they are, go back into your rest position for a moment whenever you need it, if you need a little break. We're going to take a breath in, and I want you to imagine that space when we were standing, the place between the pubic bone and the navel. I want you just to imagine that space. See if you can breathe into that. Let your belly really soften, but without dropping the spine. So see if you can let the muscles release, but not let the bones drop. And then as you breathe out, lift that lower belly, and again without moving your bones. So we want to keep the bones absolutely stable and static, and it's the muscles that are lifting up and cinching and drawing in. Breathing in, let them relax. Breathing out. Drawing in. So we're not tucking the tailbone, we're just drawing those lower belly muscles deep in towards your spine. Let's do one more. Breathing in. Breathing out, lifting that lower belly. And then from here, allow the tailbone to tuck underneath you and then let your spine roll into a cat, a little rainbow shape. Breathing in to lengthen it back, either to neutral and stay there or a little extension as long as that feels comfortable for your spine. Make sure the shoulders are relaxed against and not rising up to the ears. And let's breathe out, lifting the belly a little bit more as you tuck the tailbone underneath you, coming into your cat. And then sending the spine away as you breathe in. Two more, out. Curve, in, to lengthen. Last one, rolling through the spine. And sending the spine away. And then let's sink your tailbone all the way down towards your bum, opening the knees a bit wider. Let's bring the palms to face up, or otherwise just circle the wrists, whichever feels better for making your wrists feel supported and rested. And breathe. And then from here, let's come back into your 4-point kneeling. If the wrists are fatiguing, maybe come down onto your elbows if you need to, or give yourself a break. So listen to your body. From here, back into that lovely supported 4-point kneeling. So lifting your lower belly consciously, just actively support the waist against gravity, the lower belly and spine. And then from here, I want you to imagine that you are balancing a tray of champagne on your bum, or if you want, and you have something that could balance and show whether you're shifting and moving your spine, place it on your lower belly, on your lower back, and just see if you can indicate or see or feel any sense of shifting of your weight. We're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, really deepen that lower belly connection as you slide or release your right leg away behind you, tucking the toes underneath you. So you should feel like you've released that leg away, but without dropping or lifting that hip. It should have absolutely stayed where it is. From here, breathing in. As you breathe out, you're going to send that leg to hip height, and again, without too much shifting in the hips, imagine opening up through the front of this hip rather than hiking it towards the ceiling. And then lift and lengthen the opposite arm away. Let's just reach, imagine you're lengthening to either side of the room, breathing into any discomfort, draw the lower belly in, relax the shoulders, and then come back through center, releasing that knee gently underneath you, taking the hand rather down as well. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, sliding that left leg behind you, tuck the toes underneath, check in with the bottom, have you shifted or lifted, long on either side of the waist, and then lift and lengthen with that leg. So trying not to lift that side of the body though. We're really opening and reaching out, deeply drawing in through your belly, supporting your body through the limbs that are touching down into the floor, and then lift and lengthen the opposite arm. You might be wobbling, that's totally fine. Let's breathe into it. Imagine length and reach. So keep that sense of space in the spine, that lift in your belly. And then when you're ready, bring it back through center. The knee comes back under. Notice whether you have to shift when the knee comes in. If you have, you've dropped or you've lifted that side, that pelvis. So let's take a breath in and do that one more time. And take a break if you need to for the wrists. Sending the right leg away, tucking the toes underneath. Checking the hips are level, the waist is long, lifting into that hip. And then lifting the opposite arm. Breathe, relax the shoulders, deepen the belly, lengthen the limbs away from each other. And then come back through center. Breathing in. As you breathe out, sending the opposite leg away. Really keeping that sense of length through the spine, supporting each corner of your body. Lift the leg when you're ready, and then lengthen the opposite arm, relaxing the shoulders, Keeping the eye focus softly down in front of you. Breathe, reach, and then come back through center. And then let's come back into your rest position, relaxing those shoulders, arms, wrists, forehead down. So we're doing a lot of work against gravity today, so really trying to fire up your muscles in a functional way, so like in your everyday life. Let's just come briefly back into 4-point kneeling, and we're going to change the direction of movement slightly. So you're going to send your right leg away, but this time you're going to come onto the side of your leg and bring that left leg back behind you, and then open and lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. So this might be quite challenging already to keep this balance, and that's totally fine. See if you can really press into the outside of this right foot. So try and get the little toe connecting down, spreading all the surface area that you can to keep you supported. And then from here, we're going to breathe in, try and open into this right side of the body. And as you breathe out, reach the arm all the way across. You can rotate with the rib cage as you circle the arm and then bring it back to the ceiling. And then again, breathing in and out. The little circles, let's do 2 more. In and circling around. And last one. And circle. Lift. Now from here, if you can, I want you then to lift the supporting leg and then lower. And then lift and lower. If you want to take the top hand behind the head, do. It kind of gives you a little help in terms of balancing if your shoulder is fatiguing. We've got 2 more. Keep the belly lifted, really supporting the spine here, trying to feel lengthened and sort of still or stable through the spine as you're lifting this leg. Last one. And then bring the leg back down. We're just going to come into a rest position, but in a kind of twist almost. So we're twisting it over to the left as you're bending the knees. Maybe a little bit more stretch into the right side of the body here. Breathe. And then when you're ready, coming back through center. So we're kneeling up nice and high. You're going to send your left leg out, pressing all 5 toes on that left side. Release the right arm, lengthen it all the way down towards the floor. So you find your nice supported position here. So this right leg wants to be sort of vertical to the mat, perpendicular rather. And I want you to lift this arm up towards the ceiling. So you may feel that one side is a little bit harder than the other. We're going to breathe in, circle, and breathe out. And lift, reach as you breathe in, and breathe out. 2 more. And circle. Thinking about keeping that lower belly connected, lengthening both sides of the waist, really active through the body here, keeping you balanced. Either bend that top arm behind the head if you liked that last time, or leaving it up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift that leg and lower. 5 times. Lift and lower. Last 3 and lower. Last 2 and last 1. And then bending that knee, release across, side child pose if you like. So we're sitting back, but we're reaching over to the side. Breathing into that left side of your hips, your waist, your bum. And then come back through center. Relaxing the shoulders. I realise we haven't actually used the band today because I think I got sidetracked thinking that Jenny didn't have one. We'll do bands next week. What we're going to do is going to roll down onto our mat now. So coming onto your bum. Make sure if you need one, you've got a pillow to hand. Take the hands behind your thighs, or you can use a band here if you want to, if it's not too much of a faff. Relax the shoulders, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, we're going to roll down. So I want you to lift the lower belly, really consciously find those deep abdominal and pelvic floor muscles. And you're going to lower yourself down, working against resistance. So try and sort of Work against gravity here, lowering with control, bone by bone. You can use your hands on your thighs and then softly lengthen yourself all the way out. Adjust your pillow if you needed to. Bring your feet slightly closer in towards your bum. Hands on the belly, the same as you did or you had when you were standing. We're going to breathe into that same space. So let the pelvis relax, the shoulders, the ribs. Breathe into the lower tummy. Breathe out. Feel the same sense of lifting and engaging the muscles on the out breath and letting them soften and relax on the in breath. And this time you can really let gravity do its thing and relax the bones into the mat and just tune into the muscles. Breathing in, relax the tummy. Breathe out. Softly engage and lift it in without moving your spine. So we're just finding that muscular engagement. Last one, breathe in. And then just bring the knees in towards your chest. Let's hug them in. And I want you just to roll from side to side. We're going to come into a few stretches to finish. So let the shoulders relax. Keep holding on the left arm, release the right leg, left leg, release the right leg away along the floor. Relaxing the arms, the shoulders, the head, the ribs. Change the clasp of your hands to behind the thighs and then just softly lengthen that leg towards the ceiling and then bend it in again. So you might want to just experiment with a couple of different tries to lengthen, maybe flex the foot at the top and then slowly lower it down. Let's do that 3 more times. Last 2. Last 1. Bending that back in, just hug it in. And then swap, take the right leg in, send that left leg away. So really open up through the top of that hip. And then taking the hand around the thigh, release the leg away, flex and draw it in. Send it away, flex the foot and bring it back. Last 2. And last 1. And then bring both knees in towards your chest, just hug them in. And then bring yourself into your comfortable relaxation position. The meeting's going to finish quite soon, so I want you just to allow yourself to be in your really comfortable, soft, supported, on the floor, cushions around you, either with the legs bent or extended, whichever feels completely soft and safe for your pelvis. And just tune in to your breath. So allow the breath to inflate, soften, open into the belly and release the breath out through the lips. So just allow yourself to stay within this soft breathing position for as long as feels comfortable and supportive. Just tuning into any tension that might linger, release the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Congratulate yourself for making it to your mat tonight. And I will share the recording tomorrow. Stay here for as long as you feel comfortable. And next week we will use the band. Take care, everyone.